We need to find out a moral and ethical code, a universal moral and ethical code, and the teaching of these moral and ethical codes, and teaching of common sense realities and proper interacting skills, because a lot of people do not interact properly. And because there's so many classes of people, different types, they joke differently, or they some of them are loud, some of them are angry, some of them get violent. People need to relate to each other respectfully, because if they don't, they're only going to stop the progress that can save this world. And a lot of times it's the authorities who do not interact properly, and their injustice throughout history, and that still goes on today, that causes crime, that causes mental problems in people, that causes poverty, that causes chaos. And they don't know it themselves, but it's the authorities that weren't interacting properly with their people, not respecting them properly, and changing things perpetually, constantly in the right ways. So they really did ruin society. And they can't keep blaming it on the criminals and the poor, that they're not responsible enough, and they're lazy, and there's just too much mockery with not enough proper interaction with the opposition to learn where they're wrong. The authorities have made their own decisions for so long, and a lot of misconceptions, which turned into injustice for people. And we need a retroactive education for this country about what poverty is about, what injustice is about. And all the protesters' feelings on all these protest topics. They have wisdom, and the country should know about these wisdoms so they can think for themselves instead of being pretty much brainwashed by authoritative TV, traditional TV, which never accepted the poor on TV enough to hear their views in every way, and the injustice victims to hear their views, and the protesters talking about injustices of all types to hear their views. The country's falling apart because authorities are doing it for themselves. But they're not working with the people properly, and they're destroying this country. If they care about humanity, if you authorities care about humanity, care about justice, care about people living free the way they should be, but millions are not in this country. They're oppressed, they're injusticed, they're living traumatized and without enough wants and needs, being dictated in many ways. If they care, then they need to prove they care by properly interacting with these different types of people, the protesters, the poor, and the injustice victims, to find out where they're running things badly. Because then they will find out where they're running things badly. But a lot of times they don't interact properly or at all. They make up decisions with committees, etc. But all they know is traditional education, which was never clear enough about poverty and injustice. And we need to teach that moral and ethical code. We need to design it. Get all the wisdoms we can throughout history about how to live life, how to look at life, but in a universal and wise way that doesn't step on other people's preferences and denounce them, but actually teaches people how to live and respect and tolerate others, and why. We could teach about so many situations, and even teach on TV. Teach curriculum for younger people, for young adults, and for adults and old people. Too many people lost their wisdom and their morals and ethics by agreeing with the bureaucracy of evil. That's what I call it. It's traditional injusticing, misconceptions about what reality is and how to treat people. A lot of the authorities went away from their American morals and ethics by guinea pigging, manipulating, without people's knowledge. And that should never be done. By injusticing people and thinking they're right, but never did things right by finding out that they were wrong from the opposition because they never interacted with them properly enough. This is very important, and when they do learn enough, they'll be gung-ho with the people for once and for all. And we can make it a real good country and good community where people can be happy together. But the poor and the injustice and the protesters can't trust the authorities. They've pulled too many evil things, and they have a lot of evil injustices going on that can't be tolerated. They're just not good. They need to find out where they're wrong and prove they're good Americans. Because we need a lot of changes, and this world's got too many problems. We need to be harmonious as possible, work together, and solve the problems so people can be free, thriving, work together, and make this world what it should be. Peace.